Among the gentle hills of Galilee, life moved slower than it does today. A wedding was more than a celebration. It was a moment of joy, gratitude, and community. A time when an entire village breathed in one rhythm. In Cana, the atmosphere was no different. Music carried across the courtyard, guests talked around the tables, and the host made sure everyone felt welcome. And then, in the middle of laughter and conversation, a quiet worry began to surface. The wine had run out, a symbol of hospitality, a sign of abundance. And here, in an ordinary home, surrounded by ordinary people, something is about to happen. Something the gospel describes as the first sign of Jesus. Why does his public journey begin with such a simple need? Why here, among family and friends, and not before a crowd? In that culture, a wedding did not last an hour or two. It could continue for an entire week. Everyone was invited. The whole community was part of it. Running out of wine was not just a practical problem, it was a source of embarrassment. A sign that the family had failed in their responsibility. Mary notices the problem first. She does not create tension. She does not reproach anyone. She simply turns to Jesus and says one quiet sentence: "They have no wine." Sometimes the fewest words open the deepest spaces. 6 large stone jars stood in the house. They were used for Jewish rites of purification, everyday acts of cleansing, deeply meaningful in that time. Each jar could hold nearly 100 liters of water. Jesus says to the servants, "Fill the jars with water." They do not question him. They do not ask for an explanation. They simply fill the vessels to the brim. We do not know what happened in the following moments. The gospel does not describe any gesture, any visible sign, or any spoken formula. Between the water in the jars and the words spoken by Jesus, there is silence. A silence that becomes a space of transformation. Then Jesus tells them, "Draw some out now and take it to the master of the feast." The servants obey. The master tastes the liquid and is astonished. He does not know what happened inside the house. He does not know who brought him this cup. He says to the bridegroom, "People usually serve the good wine first and only later the lesser one, but you have kept the best until now." The first sign of Jesus takes place without spectacle, without witnesses, without excitement, only him, Mary, a few servants, and water that has become something new. John calls this moment a sign, something that points beyond itself. Water used for purification, for cleansing and preparation, is transformed into wine, a symbol of joy, abundance, and life. It is more than a solution to a problem. It is a picture of what Jesus brings, a transformation that begins quietly, and a grace that does not run out. In Scripture, a wedding often symbolizes the meeting of God and humanity. And here, at a simple village wedding, a promise appears, a glimpse of what is to come. Jesus does not begin with a dramatic sign in the temple. He begins where people live, celebrate, rejoice, and worry about the small things of everyday life. It is in such places that transformation begins. The Gospel says that through this sign, Jesus revealed his glory and his disciples believed in him. It was the first step, quiet and hidden, yet carrying the promise of everything that would follow. The miracle at Cana reminds us that God often works where we least expect it, in simple needs, in quiet conversations, in moments that do not seem extraordinary. And like the first light of dawn, which does not dazzle, but gently announces the day, this sign opens the path of Jesus and invites us to look more closely at his presence in the ordinary moments of life. What do you think this story reveals about human choices and their consequences? And how does this story speak to our own time and to the decisions we face today? This was an original narrative created for the Eternal Bible channel. Miniature